Today I'm going to do something absolutely random. I'm going to pick a completely unknown project from GitHub and make it deployable on AWS. I'll be searching through GitHub, try to find something that we can Dockerize basically. But here's the catch. I have no idea what I'm going to find. Will it be a hidden gem that we can deploy, or will it be a total nightmare to deploy? Either way, the goal is simple, turning something random into something deployable. So let's get started. So let me go to Google first and search on GitHub project. So looks like there is HTML, CSS, JavaScript project. There is a 10 project HTML, CSS, HTML, CSS, JavaScript project. Maybe let me click on this one. Let's see what it has. Say HTML, CSS, JavaScript project for beginner, portfolio website. Maybe this one. This sounds fancy. Okay, this looks good. We can Dockerize this one definitely. Let's see if we can actually um, use this one. So this is what we are supposed to see, and we're going to Dockerize it and deploy on AWS basically. So without further delay, let's do it. So first thing first, what we need to do, we need to launch AWS, right? I'm gonna say AWS. So it's gonna be AWS EC2 instance, right? Inside we'll have the Docker. So I'm gonna say Docker, and in the Docker basically I'm going to copy everything what I have in this over here. Looks like it has some images, CSS, JavaScript, also HTML, index.html. He also gives some of the things here what we are about to see. CSS to clone, and then blah blah blah, whatever. So we're going to clone it first. So we need to clone. In order to clone it, we need a git, right? But AWS by default has git install in it. So AWS Ubuntu, when you install AWS Ubuntu, it by default has the git, so we don't have to install it. What we need to install, we need to install the Docker basically. So if Docker is installed, we are good basically. So we're gonna install what? Docker. Docker needs to be installed, and we don't have to worry about git, as I said, git, right? Git is by default is installed on AWS also. But the only thing we need to do is just install Docker, and that Docker we're gonna make a container. And first thing first we're gonna do, we're gonna make a image, Docker image, right? In that Docker image, I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see. So I'm gonna make a, okay, let's see if I can make bigger like this. Yep. So we'll have a Docker image, right? In that image we'll be putting everything what we have. So everything what you see over here, we're gonna copy it and paste on the Docker image, right? So let's say this is the image, and in that image we'll basically copy these assets, readme, index, and everything basically. So everything gonna be there. So let's say whatever we have over here, assets, right? Asset will be index.html, right? And readme is not necessary because it's just for GitHub. But let's say I'm gonna also basically copy, I'm gonna copy everything. So readme is gonna also go with it, readme.md. These things gonna go inside our Docker image, right? And that image will convert that image to what? A container. Basically it will have a container, simple container you're gonna see, and that container basically will have our everything running inside, right? So everything you see is gonna be deployed in this container basically. From that container everyone will be able to see. So this is the idea. So I'm gonna say docker container. Is there anything? No, docker. So I'm just gonna simply put this icon here to actually this container, and this is gonna be in Docker image, not image, rather a container. So this is our initial goal. I'm gonna make it small, really smaller. So as you can see, first thing we're gonna launch a AWS with a key. So we're gonna have a AWS with the key, right? And that key will basically, with that key, someone will be able to log into the server and then create the Docker image. From that Docker image, we're gonna create what? Container. Um, as you can see, this project is an HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, right? If you go inside, you're gonna see all those JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, right? So we can actually have the Nginx, right? So this is the guy who has deployed the project, right? So shout out to this guy if it runs. If it doesn't run, also shout out to this guy. Anyway, so I'm gonna go back again. So this is what we were planning to copy basically. So what we have here, we're gonna have the Docker image, um, Docker image. From that image, we'll have a container. But then what thing we need a git bash, right? Git bash to connect to the server. So git bash is not found here. So I'm gonna say, just let's say this is a git bash. I'm gonna say git bash. So download git bash in your machine if you don't have it. Git bash, very easy to download the git bash and connect to this server basically. Connect to this. I'm gonna simply use white ink here. Connect to this server by what? By the key that we have over here. So this key is gonna be the user gonna have this key to connect with the git bash to this server. When we go get into the server, what first thing we're gonna do, update the machine. Once update the machine, we're gonna install Docker. Then we're gonna install the image. From the image, we're gonna create the container. This is the idea basically. So it's gonna be like this, as simple as that, right? I'm gonna make it actually straight line, like this. I hope everything is clear here. Can I? Nope. Okay. Now let me go to AWS. So I'm gonna close this guy here. We don't need this. Close it. Now go to AWS. So first thing we're gonna go to AWS and create a server. So AWS login. Go to this link. Go to sign in. If you have AWS account, it will open right away like this, as soon as you put the credential. Once you go there, click on EC2 instance. From their launch instance, after that you're gonna say maybe my random GitHub app. Let's say this is what our mission name is. I'm gonna get a Ubuntu Linux, right? You can choose whichever you like, but in our case I'm choosing Ubuntu, which everything is gonna be deployed to Ubuntu basically. T2 micro, I'm gonna get something bigger. So T2 medium, right? T2 medium is basically is has a quite bit 2 CPU and 4 GB memory, which is good enough for this kind of small app. Key pair, I have created this main key. So if you don't know how to create key pair, click on key pair and then it will be actually generating the key pair for you. I hope you know AWS, foundation of AWS. If not, I have an entire course on AWS coming up, so stay tuned for that as well. So choose this one, choose main key. You need to choose the key. So basically this is the key I'm talking about. This is the key we are creating, right? We're generating. So, and also the type of server we are picking out from here. You have a bunch of options here. The bigger you go, the more expensive it is. So I'm going something smaller, so it's less expensive also, because we don't need big server for a small project. Keep the way it is. We don't have to worry about anything else. One thing we need to have Nginx. Nginx. This Nginx is runs on a port 80 by default, so we can also install it in our machine basically, right? So this needs to be also installed. Um, so actually I'm gonna centralize here. Let's say little space for it as well, little. Okay, so this is gonna be also done. So these three things we need: Nginx, Docker, and Git. So let's launch the machine first, and then we're gonna do one step at a time. So once you do it, also you put the image a little more. 30 GB is free when you get a AWS account, part of the free tier eligibility. Once you finish your free tier eligibility, then they're gonna actually no matter how much storage you put, it's gonna charge based on that how much you're using basically. Then once you everything is looks good, right? Put the name, put the Linux version, what kind of Linux operating system you want to use. In my case, Ubuntu. Pick the way this the architecture should be this one. Instant time T2 medium, key pair main key. Network setting, network for network setting. Don't worry, I'm just allowing the SSH traffic because we're gonna use git bash to connect to the server, right? So enable this one. So if it's not enabled, click on it, it will and put anywhere, right? Anyway, everything looks good. Now click on launch instance. Now the instance is being created. If you go to instance here, you're gonna see the instance is saying my random, bigger, as you can see, my random GitHub app. So this is the app, which this is the server which we're gonna deploy this entire app, right? And see how the app looks and everything. Very random app, we don't know what they have inside, but looks like it's a portfolio app. So we tend to see something like this maybe, or I don't know. Anyway, so now let me connect to the server. So click on it, connect, go to SSH client and copy this string and minimize this and go to your desktop and go show more options and go to open git bash here. Open it whenever you have the key downloaded, right? Wherever you generated this key should be, you should open your git bash over here. So in my case, I download the git bash key in my desktop, right? That's why I am actually open the git bash on a desktop. Anyway, so right click on it, paste it, enter. Once you enter, it will ask you to log in, connecting, right? Are you sure? Do you want to connect? I'm say I would be very glad to open. So press yes. Once you press yes, it will actually navigate you to the server. So basically we have we have created this and logged in, right? So this thing is done. Right now what I'm gonna do actually, I'm gonna clear out everything. First thing first, let's clear out everything, and I'm gonna update the machine. To update the machine, first become a super user, sudo su. When you become super user, that's when you can do everything, right? So clear up the screen now. So apt get update. You need to update the machine, right? So to update the machine, we say apt get update. We update. Okay, so it has been updated. So clear the screen again. Now install the Docker, right? We don't have to install Git, as I said, because Git comes through Ubuntu on AWS. Anyway, but we don't have Docker, so install Docker. So say Docker apt get install docker.io, and that will install Docker for us. Okay, so Docker has been created, right? I mean, Docker has been installed. So we install Docker. Now let me actually clone everything what we have over here to our machine. So I'm gonna actually get click on a code and go to this, copy this GitHub link. Now go to your GitHub again. So it's a git clone and paste it over here. Once you paste it, I don't know why I didn't paste it, so I'll go again and copy again. I'm gonna paste it again here. See if it paste. It paste and press enter. It has cloned it. Let me check. So I'm going to clear the screen out, Control L again. I'm going to say ls. As you can see, the portfolio website is here. Now we're going to deploy in our machine, right, in the container, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inside this portfolio folder, cd portfolio, right? Press enter. Now do ls. As you can see, we have everything here, whatever we had in the GitHub. So now we have copied everything in the server. Right now, let's actually put everything in the Docker file. So what first thing first, let me create a Docker file. So nano Docker file. In the Docker file, we'll define what we need. So first thing, we need Nginx, right? Because it's running on a, we're gonna host it on a server, right? So we need to get an Nginx because it's a small project. We don't need the entire Nginx, right? We can get the small Nginx version, right? The Nginx Alpine or smallest one. So let me get it. So it's a from, and it's an Nginx Nginx, right? And then it's Alpine. This is the smallest Nginx, I guess. And then you need to say run, and then it's rm hyphen rf. What I'm planning to do, I'm planning to delete everything in the container on the HTML file, right? Because everything will deploy on the HTML folder. So inside the HTML index folder, right? So when everything is clear, ready to go, that's when we actually able to dump everything, right? It will be easier for us to dump and copy everything from um, our GitHub file that we downloaded to our container basically, right? So just for first thing first, do run rm hyphen rf, and then you say. So what I'm saying, inside this HTML, and if anything is if there is any file, delete it. Just delete it, right? In this path basically, inside the container, basically what the container we are planning to create. And then what we're gonna do, basically we're gonna copy everything from our portfolio file and paste it over in this HTML location, right? So you say copy everything, right? Copy everything in this directory, portfolio directory, and paste it where? The user, like this, and this HTML. So basically we are copying, this is the portfolio website or whatever in the portfolio website is here, right? We're saying every copy everything and paste this location inside this location, so that we can host our everything. But then we want to run this Nginx port, open the port too, right? So expose the port. So expose port 80. So Nginx run on by default port 80. So we are basically opening the port 80. So now says CMD. I'm gonna run the CMD, right? And inside the CMD, we're gonna say Nginx, right? Nginx again. So nginx, and then you say hyphen g, do the daemon off, right? So this daemon off should actually keep the container running basically for the nginx, right? So and this is how you define it, hyphen g, to make any rule for the nginx. So this is what you need to type in order to actually copy everything and deploy in the image, and that image will be transferring into a container basically. I hope this is clear. First line is getting the nginx, which we need the we need the server, nginx server, so that we can host the website basically. And we are cleaning this machine, everything. This is optional, you can actually delete everything, you don't need these lines, but I am actually making sure that this file is clear before we actually copy in everything, right? We're making sure this file is all deleted, then we actually learn copying everything, right? And basically deploying in this folder. And then we exposing the port 80, right? And once we expose the port 80, then we say we're running the nginx command and opening, we're allowing this daemon of rule for our nginx basically. These lines you need in order to deploy this project. If it doesn't run, we will see what else we can do, because it's an HTML and CSS basic application, basic files here. I don't see any other complexity over here. That's why I am actually doing very limited stuff here. Anyway, so I'm gonna say Control O, enter Control X, which will actually save the file, the Docker file. Now let me create the image. So I'm gonna create this image, Docker image now. So basically this part, right? This is the part which I'm going to do right now. Say Docker build hyphen t and give a name for image. So I'm gonna say my ran GitHub random app, right? So GitHub random app. I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see nicely. GitHub random app, let's say version v1, right? And dot, it will generate the image for us. Looks like it is generating. It has generated basically, as you can see. How I'm gonna see, I'm gonna clear the screen, Control L, and I'm gonna say Docker images, and it's gonna show us the image. As you can see, it says GitHub random app version v1, which is 86 megabyte altogether, and it's also downloaded the nginx image for us as well, which needed to run this app. Now this thing is done. Now what we have to do, turn this image into a container, so that we can actually finally see everything in our website, I mean in our cloud. So what do we have to do? We have to say docker run hyphen d. Docker run hyphen d actually run the container in the background, right? Detach mode basically, and then open the port. So we open the port, what, port 80, right? So we need to attach with the port 8080, or we can actually attach in the port 80 if the you can, let's say port 80 into port 80. So we are attaching port 80, right? And you say github. If this port doesn't work, we'll change in the different port. It doesn't matter actually. So everything, if everything looks good, press enter. Looks like the container has been created. Now let me see, docker, yes, as you can see that container is up and running, right? And we get a name for the container because we didn't specify the name over here. That's why we're getting a name over, random name over here. Anyway, we have deployed our container, and this everything we copied from here and then deploy in the container. Now let me go to the AWS and go to the instance here. Click on this security here, and what we have to do, we have to go to this security group. Once you go there, click on the inbound rule and add rule and open the port 80, because we define the port 80 or in the container basically. So it's open now. Go to the details. As you can see, public IP, click on the public ID and paste over here, and then say port 80. As you can see, it's running. So this is the app basically, what we found on GitHub. So as you can see, okay, so it works. As you can see, it has the button and everything this guy created. So shout out to this guy, whoever he is, created this beautiful website, and we just dockerized it and deployed in AWS very easily, right? Anyway, this was very fun to actually do, and I hope you guys liked it. If you guys liked it, please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much.